Coast University. Mr. Stephen Agler, retired educationist. Richard Collins Akon. Good evening to you, my brother. To all the guys at Gan West Nadmo. Hey, Vice Chancellor of Methodist University Ghana, Professor William Babwate. Hey, your info. Your info, that's my alma mater, so I have to come. I have to come and see you. By ya bio Tema Community 9. Vice Chancellor of Methodist University Ghana, Professor William Babwat. Well deserved, well deserved, well deserved. Prof, you have to charge them extra for mileage because now that you're there, you'll be getting extra mileage. Methodist University will be getting extra mileage. Well done to you, sir. We start the way we start. Until the lions have their own historians, the tales of hunting would always glorify the hunter. And you know, I'll say that again. Folks, I said until the lions have their own historians, the tales of hunting would always glorify the hunter. Hello and welcome to the most opinionated hour on radio and the nation's thought-provoking hour. I am Nana Ansah Kwao IV, Chief of the Little Republic of Akwemu Edumasa. And I say thank God it's Monday. Another Monday, another opinion. And here we are to perform radio's finest ritual. Right here on Joy 99.7 FM at this time all Mondays. Make it a date to tune in and join us. Special greetings to all you patriots out there who have tuned in. Let me welcome you to the ritual I call That's My Opinion. And our topic today, graduates on drugs. Graduates on drugs. Let us all gather and make truth good. Last week I talked about breeding cheats for the future. And we were all concerned about the level of cheating in examination. I mean, one caller said even in class 2 going into class 3 exams and they were cheating. Class 2 to class 3. Why they are writing exams in the first place, it's amazing, but they were cheating. The high level of collaboration, the aiding and abating, all towards the children being able to cheat during exams. It's very alarming, and indeed, we were sympathetic towards their plight in the future, and we were concerned as to what the future holds for them. We have been unfair and cruel, all in the name of passing exams. We have been unfair and we have been very cruel, all in the name of passing exams. Last week, the Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment dropped an alarming statistics about drug use in our tertiary institutions. With over 500,000 population nationwide, 12% is said to be abusing cocaine, 11% abusing heroin, and a few number of them alcohol, cigarettes, cannabis, all the lot. Folks, let me go around and come back and deal with this university drug issue. Now, before I come to the drug menace, folks, let's look at the bigger picture. Folks, we are currently hovering around 14 to 15% teenage pregnancy yearly. Rough estimating number will be about 350,000. 350,000. So over 300,000 unwanted pregnancies. 350,000. It's about the new births in the whole of South Korea. The whole of South Korea, what they are producing is what our teenagers are dropping unwanted. You get the picture? The population of South Korea is about 51, 52 million. And they are reproducing about 230, 240,000 babies a year. So let's ponder over it. Folks, let's ponder over it. That's what we are just doing as teenage pregnancy. It's what a developed nation is doing in their national population growth. Folks, this new Ghana, unlike the ones before, where somebody to go to school in Abomosu, and then from Abomosu you go to Prempeh College, from Prempeh College to Legon, from Legon to Leeds, and come back and you big boy at Bank of Ghana. Those days are gone. The chances of breaking barriers now is quite tough. It's quite tough. So once you fall into that poverty cycle, it's not easy to break. If you fall into this cycle, it becomes hard to break. And folks, let's ask ourselves, what's the use of children reproducing children who are also coming to reproduce children? How will they help in nation building? Where do you plug them in? So when people talk about population being, a market, folks, market for what? The child was abused just for a packet of noodles. They were abused just for a packet of noodles. Now she has a baby in tow. What are you going to market to them? So these numbers just become a consumption number with little or sometimes no production. With little or sometimes no production. So that's a heavy burden just sitting there. Folks, back to the drug menace. Now, at the tertiary institutions, but again, before I get there, surely, these were not Catholic nuns and Roman fathers who suddenly got an opportunity to go to university and then decided to abuse drugs. No, they must have been doing it in the junior schools at the SHS. And indeed, folks, they are overdoing it in the junior schools. Drugs are too accessible and too available and too free. Kind of lights out, go and buy their drugs, their pills, name it, all these illicit drugs. Right there from JSS and SHS. So while we are looking at the unis or the tertiary institutions, we must be hard on the JHS and the SHS. We must be hard. What is motivating them? Why this insatiable need for drugs at such a young age? Why? What is the great need? What is encouraging them? Is it just purely peer pressure? Is it to stay awake and learn? Is it, for sexual performance? Is it for confidence? There must be a need. There must be a motivation. Are we trying to find it so we provide the alternative? At such young age. Folks, but most important, let's try and stem their demand. Let us try and stem their demand. Otherwise, we shall be feeding the tertiary institutions with already drug addicts. They just get to the tertiary institution, just get introduced to maybe more harder drugs. They finished with their glues and they finished with their inks and all that stuff. And now they move into harder drugs because they've gone up the ladder. Folks, for a country to gain its full potential, about 90% of school entrants, people who go to kindergarten and class 1, should graduate. About 90%. For you to grab your full potential. Now, with our high dropout rate, very high unwanted births, and now the few who were able to sneak up to the top, who we rely on to come and be the administrators and the inventors and governors in the country, are smoking their heads off. Now that's the picture I want us to look at. Just focus on the little ones up there. Look at the whole youth population. Look at the whole youth population and ask yourself, what then happens to Ghana? What then happens to Ghana? But I don't know. Those of you who are educationists, those of you who are in the medical institutions, would it be too much to ask for frequent random drug tests, maybe twice a week? Are the numbers too much? Can we have a good sample so that at least twice a week we go through the sample and pick? Also, before being admitted into uni, maybe bring a drug, a lab test saying that you are drug free or drug negative. Because I know that drugs will stay in your bloodstream for quite some time. It stays in your bloodstream for quite some time. So before you get admitted into uni, you must, if you are on drugs, you must have stayed away and cleaned yourself before you even make the attempt. And if you're in uni and you're caught, maybe send you back another year to start the whole year again lose some privileges. I don't know. But we must throw something at these kids to tighten the noose. We are not protecting them enough. Folks, we're not protecting children in Ghana enough. Folks, if we tighten the noose, the drug peddler will turn up in school and say, "I the drugs, and nobody will buy because, Charlie, I can lose a year out of my education, or I can be kicked out, or I can be exempted from free education and asked to pay because I'm on drugs." Something. We must have some harsh, strict rules to protect them for our own selfish reasons, for Ghana's selfish reasons. So that by the time they come out of the system, they are not children who are cheating in examinations and smoking their heads off, but upright people. People with the dignity, the substance which nations are built upon. Courage, loyalty, positive work attitudes, nation love, buy Ghana, brand Ghana. But it must be taught to them. They must be guided into it. But this issue where it's as though Obia is just free to do whatever their heart content. It's like we have to please. Everybody must be pleased. Everyone must be pleased. And so your ward can come to school for free, eat free, sleep free, do everything free, and then on top, do drugs? No. No, folks. Then you have wasted all that resources going into that child has been a complete waste. And bear in mind, there's a pothole somewhere that wasn't filled because of you being in school. And then you are there smoking your head off, and the pothole is still there. That is a double, there's a double loss. So we must be strict. Searches, test, urine test, find out who's consuming stuff that they are not supposed to consume. Deter them from even getting into it to get hooked on it. Yes, not every single person will pass, but at least I'm sure a great percentage of them will stay away. So Charlie, I didn't mean because when I go home, my dad will kill me. But if he knows he can smoke or she can smoke it and go home and nobody will know, teacher will know, be in him there, then it's free for. So by the time they grow, they've all become addicted to it. And these are the same human resource that we need to turn to capital. So that one day when they say they're going to build a bridge, we have bridge building engineers. One day when they say they're bringing railways, we have railway engineers. We have skilled workers who can actually mend and weld and stitch and bend. Otherwise, folks, we will be left to holding red flags and blue flags and standing in front of a gate, and when the truck is coming, you just wave the red one and wave the green one. We must direct. We must enforce. We must be strict. Children cannot have such latitude in life. It's a curse on the child. It's cruel to the child. It's wicked to the child to grow up with no guidance. A child growing up with no guidance is the most cruel thing you can do to anyone. So I'll leave it out there and see. I don't know. If you're a parent, would you like your ward to be subjected to a urine test to see if he or she is clean? Would you want to? If you're going into a university, should it be a law to say that, listen, as part of the things that you're bringing to the university in terms of your certificate and whatever it is, there must be a lab test from a reputable lab saying that you're clean and that there are no illicit drugs in your system. Put the fear of God in these children. Guide them on the right path so they don't fall away from it. Because the world is moving so fast at a direction where I don't know if we can make it. So in our own little corner, We need to build strong men and women with integrity, with fortitude, who can stand their ground and make a difference. But at this rate, folks, we are going to have a generation of huge number of withouts, a little number of whips fighting in the same country. Fighting in the same country where the poor people have become so much and the rich people have become too few and they don't know how to coexist. We must lift poverty. We must lift people up from poverty. So my God, if you've been given the opportunity to educate yourself, get a skill, get computer literate, and stay away from drugs. Now this is Education Matters, so I'm sure you know more than I do. 0302 216 541. Would you allow your brother, your sister, your ward, your daughter to say, look, in this school, we do drug tests twice a week. You pee and then we check to make sure that there's nothing bad in your pee. As a parent, will you agree? If you're going into university, would you want your ward to be checked to say that they are clean before they get into school? And while they're in school, they do random tests to make sure that they're not doing anything dodgy. And if they do, they get kicked back the year. Nana Kwesi is an atomic, and I want to find out if Nana Kwesi would want their brother or sister or ward to be tested for drugs. Nana, talk to me.
I wouldn't mind, but who's going to pay for it?
Well, you pay for it. Nana Kwesi, if you be free, you're coming to school for free.
we want solution. So, yeah, so let's say we want to do the test. Who is going to pay for it? Is it the school or the parents?
No, once you're coming into the school, I mean, if you're coming into school, the parent will pay. But once they are in school, it will be the school's cost. I think it's only fair that once they are in school, it will be the school's cost. And I think whoever is doing the test, considering there are millions of children to be tested on a weekly basis, you can slash the price and still make money.
Well, let's see how that goes. If only the school is willing and they won't want to build the parents for it. Anyway, I started seeing young people doing drugs. You are even mentioning JHS. I started seeing it when I was in primary school.
Wow.
When young people, it was alcohol. Mostly alcohol. They want to have fun and they are taking alcohol, they get booze. And that is what they see as a flex. And honestly, if you are not into such kind of thing, they see you as Uyukrasine. And right now it's just been more and more visible, and the same thing is running through. And when I went to senior high school, my father was also into, he smoked, okay. However, I realized that those of us that were going, some of us were already into the house already. And now it's the teenagers, so Nana, see, they are into all sorts of things. And they see it as a flex. Okay, they don't see anything wrong with it. And I've come to realize that, see, as parents, we can only do what we can do. But when these children move out there, you have just little control. So you have a child who is a certain way when they are home, and you think that they are doing everything proper, and they are something else when they are out. See, there's a restaurant that I usually go to, and I see teenagers, students, some senior high school, some JHS. They come around most often, and I check this. When they are coming, they are in their school uniform. But when they come in, they change, and you see the canon career of Moshe. I know that this career almost want to see never. So how do we even reach the gap of when we teach our children to do right, when they go out there, to hold on to that? Because, you see, whatever it is that we are teaching them at home, they go out there and it's just contested with other cultures and other experiences. Okay, so you are telling your child that you can't smoke. The person goes out, they make friends with people who smoke. Maybe from the beginning they don't want to smoke. But you seeing their friends, they are smoking, they are doing this, they are doing that. At the end of the day, there's nothing wrong. Let me try. If you ever try, then the person gets hooked on it. So how do we, my main concern, how do we even bridge that gap whereby our kids, when they go out there, they will do the right thing? Because we can only do what we can do, Nana. You cannot follow your child around everywhere they go. You can't. And they are growing. You can't also team them in the house every day. So how do we do that? It's something that is mind-boggling, honestly. And I'm really happy that it's coming up right now. But let's see. The solutions you mentioned is a way to go, but Nana, it's not as simple as it looks. If you ask me, like the first bit like this, okay, it's perfect. But in Ghana, here that we are here, knowing my fellow Ghanaians, it's shocking.
Thank you very much. This one is from Aye. Aye is a PE teacher at Ajana Senior Technical, right? So one of the main causes of these problems is poor parenting, also resulting from broken homes and financial burden. Until we take a serious stand against drugs, like Singapore did, Ghana has no future. Again, most parents don't know their children. A lot of these kids are becoming addicted to different substances. It will shock you, some of the things they do. Medical examination is part of university entry criteria, and it's part of the fees. But I don't know if they do drug tests. Even though I know they do medical tests, I don't know if they do drug tests. I don't know. But this is from Aye, all the way from Ajana, literally next door to the Republic of Edumasa. But Imoro Ahasan is in Tamale, and Salam Alaikum, my brother.
Hello, my senior.
Yes, sir.
How is it, sir?
Very well.
Nana, you know my stand. The topic you have brought, for me, Ghana is already molested, impregnated by politicians to a high depth in such a way that, hello?
Yeah, I'm listening.
It has become so difficult to manage the country. Now, look at it this way. The direction we are coming from, why not look at it this way? If you have a wound and you don't dress it, you don't clean it, and you continue putting drugs on it, will it heal? It will take time.
Yeah.
So, what you are looking at is perhaps a poor creation of jobs. You are talking about if you have people who have high term in society, or have, you mentioned some qualities. Most people who are managing our economy did not abuse drugs. They went through the system in a way. But look at our economy. So if we don't look at the people who complete education, their professional studies, how many of them get jobs? How many jobs are created? It brings this backlog, creating problems to families, not able to handle their children, and letting them go into such abuse of drugs. Look, the teachers are overwhelmed. They are not even able to monitor them. They are just on their own. What we are calling for, they will take the money, and this test will never be done. I'm telling you, where Ghana is today. That is why some of us are saying that before we can go forward, let's cancel Parliament. Parliament is just useless. It does not help us in any way.
Today,
Nana,
today we are sticking to education. But I think you're taking it too wide, aren't you?
Yes, I'm looking at it why because, Nana, there are so many ways to create jobs. But the politicians don't even see it. They don't see it at all because Parliament is supposed to come and be meeting the people and will discuss and give them suggestions. But they don't. They just take their own ideas and they're sitting there. Look at all the districts. There are no DVLA offices there. Where I work, Bandai, the distance from that place to Tamale, it's about 150 kilometers. And you expect people to send their motorbikes and cars to Tamale to go and register. They're not making revenue. So you see vehicles and motorbikes, they're not registered. How can you force them to drive that way there, to go and queue, sleep? And that happened to...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me get... this one says, well said, Nana, but I think strict enforcement across all schools, backed by proper code of conduct and or ethics, could do the magic. Once you misbehave, you're expelled and no other school will admit you. And just then we might see some change, hopefully. Ayigbeni Dogbeda from Nungwa. Good evening, Nana, please. I agree with you to that, more especially those in SHS. Please, you will be surprised the way they act after they are done with their intakes. From Uncle Dan in Amre here. Ajiman Joseph is on the line. Hello, Ajiman. Hello, Ajiman.
Good evening, and I hope you're doing well.
I'm very well, my brother. Let me hear you.
When UPSA authorities were very hard on dress code, we got some people who were talking about it. Allowed them, they are matured. I could see that all the bad behavior and attitude from our school age, basic, secondary, when you get to the tertiary, then it increases. So we grow heavily on bad behaviors when we go to tertiary. And I think that's the stage that we should learn more sense rather than, excuse my word, foolishness. So in this case, stubbornness is increased, prostitution is increased. And if we make it a point that before a student will enter into the lecture hall, let the person be tested and see if there is a substance in him or her. We get some people in Ghana here to talk about it. So I think it's about time that we forget about the tertiary institution students being matured, but we should handle them like children, because if we don't take time, a time will come, they will beat all the teachers or the lecturers, they will beat them up. So we should forget about seeing them to be so mature, but be hard on them. That's my take on that.
Thank you very much. And Abu Mohammed is in Japan. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Nana.
Lower your. I'm getting a lot of feedback.
I'm not to my radio.
Is it?
To the phone.
Okay, let me hear you anyway.
Yeah. I want to drag you. How to drag the system to the top.
There's quite a feedback. Abu, there's quite feedback in your sound. I don't know. As for drugs being in the system, I think it would be a very difficult one to say you're going to fight the drug peddler. But if you kill his market, maybe it will help. But hey, let me hear what my brother in the USA will say. Hey, Kwabna.
Hello, Nana, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I joined your program late, but you got
the gist.
I got the basics of what you're talking about. But my point is, the basis of the research or the investigation is a little bit suspect. Because all over the world, there's no way you can get a drug addict who is going to school. How would he or she learn? And that's the reason why most universities don't do drug tests before you enroll. But before you are employed in a work site or somebody's private business, you want to make sure that your judgment is not impaired by most of the time. They want to see whether you are an alcoholic, whether you drink before you come to work. But as to whether you imbibe hard narcotics, I doubt those people who are really into narcotics, they work regular jobs. Right. So I don't really understand the basics of what you are talking about, whether they should do drug tests before you go into university or not.
Okay,
it's not sustainable.
You see, they do a test for like hepatitis B and all that test before you go into any university. You have to bring a health check. I'm saying that they could ask an illicit check. So while they're checking you for whether you have hepatitis or whether you have any condition, they could check to see if there's anything in your bloodstream.
Yeah, but when we're going to check, we didn't check for those things.
Maybe at the time we didn't have.
Right.
Maybe at the time, you see, Kwabena, the difference between us and our children, right, is that we lived before and after technology. Our children live purely in technology. They have seen a much easier life than we did. And so we should guide them in terms of survival skills. The world is also leaving them apart because we've left them free. And I'm just saying that if drugs is becoming a problem within the school system, then just do a random urine check to see who is taking it and who is not. So that your child, you being a strict father, your child won't go and try it and say, I didn't go try it because I didn't go to your and papa. And then,
right.
Yeah.
But like I said,
so you reduce.
The problem will be the family setting. So, like in this generation, most of these kids are just using sex for fun. So, like you've been saying, they've been giving birth without fathers. The family system is broken. And that's the reason why, Nana, I always advocate that we appoint the right kind of people in the ministries. Look at the person you appointed for the gender, children, and social protection. That is his job or her job. But you see somebody in the Jubilee House appointing a political person who doesn't know nothing about what he's going there to do.
But they are chief executive.
So how can we fix all these social problems, Nana?
But there are people already within the ministry to guide the person. The guy comes with the policy, but the people...
They are all political stooges, Nana. They are not like some of us who doesn't phone around people who are not sycophants. Now all these Ghanaian politicians, all these people in the civil services, they are all unethical people. They are all sycophants. They cannot hold their own because, like the Supreme Court justice was removed today, they are fearful for their job that they will be removed if they stand up for what is right.
And I mean, your Chief Justice. Chief Justice. I'll bring Chief Justice another day. Look, all I am saying is that we have so many unwanted births. Teenage pregnancy is very high. So that's one group of children all growing up. We have children in secondary schools who think it's a flex. So they are getting alcohol and drugs and cigarettes and all that. By the time they get to university, nothing. And I'm saying, for the country to get its full potential, 90% of the children you put to school, you must put them to school, and 90% should finish. The children that you give birth to in the country, and currently we are hovering around 850,000. So we should put 850,000 children into school, and 90% of that should finish. Then you have that brain power to build your nation. But here we are, 300,000 unwanted. Kakrani to me coin about 50% that are able to get to the top are also getting into illicit drugs. So that's why I'm saying, to correct this thing, where do we go? Well, hello, Steve.
Hello, Nana.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening. Help me out.
It's such an insightful program. Because Nana, this of late is becoming very serious. Could you imagine I chanced upon a colleague I went to the training college with last week. And it's as if now drugs had made him become a beggar. He has even quit the job.
Wow.
So he met me, colleagues, so he was like, even if it is 10 CDs, give it to me. So Nana, I think this whole thing starts from the environment of the child. And I think families, some are doing well, but most families are not doing really well, Nana. And it is as if in most of our areas in this part of the world, the child is left on their own. The parent doesn't care Now, could you even imagine that you go to some homes and then girl children are given out to males to watch after them or look after them, and then after their education, they marry the guys, Nana? It's very serious.
Wow.
But the whole thing starts from the home, and it's about time we dealt with it from the home. Thank you very much, Nana.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much. This one says, hello, Nana. It's sad and shocking that our age-old society, which was communal and able to inculcate values into young, old, and age has giving way to divided and monotonous nuclear families who are too self-centered. The earlier we go back, the better for our collective survival. Citizen Sika Togo, University of Ghana. Hello, Kwabna, let me hear you.
Hello, Nana. Just a quick reaction to what you said before after I left.
Sure.
You want about 90% of our children to finish school, but you have to understand that the Ghanaian education system does not do that. They leave a lot of the children on their own, right? So we need a system where children can be helped to attain a certain standard before they graduate. But we don't do that. We go and write the BEC, and if they fail, and maybe they are poorly educated, nothing happens. Those are the people who become mistrans, who indulge in social and anti-social activities. So unless we change the way we educate our children, especially in the basic education level, where we set a standard, where the teacher will make sure that before the child leaves that class, he has attained that standard before he leaves. What about resources the state will have to provide? That's what is done in the United States high school, middle school, high school education. Mm-hmm. And that's what we need to do. We need to task the teachers to make sure that the child that leaves your class to attain a certain standard in reading, writing, and whatever indicators that we need before the person progresses. We need to provide. We don't need to leave the child behind. We'll get the child, but we need to provide the resources, extra classes within the school, and that will be borne by the state to move the child forward. That's the only way we can solve all these problems, Nana.
Thank you very much. But we'll continue talking about this issue. Definitely, it's a big one that we need to engage on it more. Says I love beer. My maximum intake for a month doesn't get close to 4 liters. Whiskey, brandy, not my favorite. I've never smoked cigarettes before, even though I have lived among drug addicts at Asafo in Kumasi. Before my very eyes, my brother's wedding in Kumasi. They mixed weed and apetishi and other drugs so that they would become high. The adults in our society have set bad standards for the kids to follow. I must guide and guard my son to write a better story for his good name. I have to protect other people's children too, because they may become friends with my children someday. May my weakness be my child's strength. My Cosby. TK is my last caller. Hello, TK.
Hi, Nana. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm very well. Talk to me.
Okay, Nana, first let's clear the story from the U.S.
Sure.
I may not have the statistics, but about 90% of secondary school and high school children in the U.S. use drugs. Okay. We cannot compare that to Ghana.
They're on a different level.
They are on a different level. So my brother from the U.S. is actually not in tune with what is happening in Ghana. Mm-hmm. Number two, Nana, the drug abuse had been happening even when you were in secondary school.
Yeah.
Perhaps there was no social media there was no light being thrown on it. So that's why you might not have known.
I think the heroin and the cocaine bit is a bit on the high side, on the steep side. Though. I don't know, because in my
yes,
days,
there were other things. There were other things people were using.
Yeah, there was mad drugs and weed. They had their mad drugs and weed.
Yes,
but heroin. That's one that we don't want to become normal.
Yes, I agree with you, Nana. Mm-hmm. That we didn't have the cocaine and the mad drugs. I think we had mad drugs in the 90s, etc. Yeah. They were far in between, but people were using them. Mm-hmm. I'm not by any stretch of imagination condoning. Mm-hmm. But again, let me come back to your idea as well that about the 90% of the students should be good. Nana, what do we teach? Here is Kwame. Kwame is a boy. He is a boy. He says, I'm a boy. That's all we teach. But somebody who is not willing to go to uni, let's say in other jurisdictions, who will find some work and be doing, could be a plumber, a carpenter or something. But we don't have something like that. And again, let me correct my brother there about the US thing. If it is not every type of situation where you say they don't do drug tests. Even situations where they are taking plumbers, they do drug tests in the US. But Nana, it boils down to parenting and self-will of the people. I live among people who smoke weed. I tell my friends, hey, if you want to be my friend, you can't smoke cigarettes. And that ends it. I've never tried before. And I've lost friends as a result, even way as a young boy. So it boils down to self-control of the individual as well.
I thank you very much for that. It boils down to the individual. But the individual, as people have said, grows in the society and will pick from the society. All I was saying is that, just leaving people at their choice to make their own informed decision can be dangerous, particularly children growing up in this volatile or high information age could be dangerous. So you put down policies and guidelines and states so that you scare them from even trying. That's what I was thinking. If I'm in school and I know, say, you're a drug tester, I'm not going to go smoke weed because if I'm caught, I'm in big, big trouble. May lose my privileges. But if I will never be caught, then, well, big thanks goes to Maribel, Oliver, and Ziggy. As you know, they are the international producers. Highly international producers. Folks, I am Nana Ansah Kwao IV. That was my opinion. If this was your first time, every Monday after 7, tune in. I'll drop an opinion and we shall all discuss. Next Monday, God willing, we shall be back to do this all over again. News bulletin is up next. Kofi Hayford's here to give you some soul-searching songs, so don't you even touch the dial.